The New York studio of the American Pulse buzzes like a vibrant arena as Alex Harper, the charismatic host with a confident smile, steps out, raising a hand in greeting and booming his voice to welcome the audience to the American Pulse, announcing that tonight this stage will witness an unrelenting battle of ideas as Robert De Niro, a Hollywood legend who just mocked Donald Trump on live TV, faces off against Karoline Leavitt, the sharp-witted White House press secretary, ready to crush every attack with both opponents stepping onto the stage under blinding lights to the roaring cheers of a divided crowd. Harper introduces De Niro as a Hollywood icon and outspoken Trump critic, dressed sharply and resolute, while turning to present Leavitt in a vivid red dress exuding fearless energy and instantly winning the hearts of the mega supporters. As both contenders stand across a large table, the atmosphere thick with tension, Harper opens a debate by asking De Niro for his thoughts on Trump, to which De Niro responds with fierce contempt, calling Trump an idiot, a narcissist, and a threat to democracy, slamming his economic policies and accusing him of dividing the nation. As the audience erupts with cheers and boos split by political lines, De Niro continues, highlighting deficits, reckless tariffs, and alleged incompetence targeting Trump and those who support him, including Leavitt, who remains silent but intense, and finally rising with a thunderous voice to defend Trump, accusing De Niro of insulting millions of hard-working Americans and demanding who he thinks he is to judge them from his Hollywood throne. As applause and backlash clash, Leavitt gains momentum, calling out De Niro's elitism and defending Trump's electoral victories, economic record, and job creation, while De Niro fires back with accusations of fraud, lawsuits, environmental damage, and cruelty at the border, only to be met with Leavitt's sharp rebuttals backed by statistics and defiant passion. She claims Trump cut drug trafficking, saved jobs, lowered gas prices, and restored industries, while De Niro tries to expose Trump's rhetoric, lawsuits, and social media behavior as dangerous, divisive, and deceitful. Debate escalates with data and personal attacks flying from both sides, Leavitt citing Trump's investments in infrastructure, defense, and education, while dismissing De Niro's points as media lies and outdated scandals. De Niro in return raises his voice about environmental rollback, immigration policy, and manipulation of democracy, but Leavitt counters every strike with pointed responses about job growth, tax relief, and border security, framing Trump as a results-driven leader for the people while portraying De Niro as an out-of-touch elitist shouting from his mansion. As the crowd roars with emotion, mega chants clashing with anti-Trump boos, Harper tries to calm the storm, but is drowned out as De Niro rises again, calling Trump a dictator, blaming him for rising debt, environmental decline, and broken promises to workers, while Leavitt retaliates with claims of industrial output growth, trade school funding, and tax reform that benefited the majority of Americans, not just the rich. He dismisses criticisms of Trump University as old news and points to the millions of jobs and billions in revenue created under his administration, while De Niro stumbles trying to claim Trump's policies hurt farmers and cause division. Leavitt asserts that Trump protected agriculture through tariffs and saved thousands from fentanyl by securing the border. As De Niro grows more desperate, his voice cracking, Leavitt stands firm, dismantling each point with aggressive clarity, citing employment statistics, economic improvements, and national security achievements, and challenging De Niro to produce real data instead of elitist media talking points. As the energy in the studio mirrors a Roman Colosseum with the audience on edge, waving signs, chanting Trump, and yelling over one another, while Harper calls for a breather, De Niro surges up once more, accusing Trump of destroying the country through flawed trade policies, while Leavitt, dressed in blazing red, delivers a final explosive rebuttal, stating that Trump created hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs and boosted farm exports, effectively saving American workers. As she locks eyes with De Niro, declaring that his numbers are fake and his argument detached from reality, the crowd again explodes in thunderous cheers mixed with defiant boos as a battle of words rages on with no sign of either side backing down. The IT cuts and voice a razor-sharp blade slicing through bankrupt. You're lying outright. Trump pumped $28 billion into agriculture, the biggest relief in history, per the USDA, helping farmers with the retaliatory tariffs and boosting soybean exports 15%, corn 20%. While you play a hero in movies, Trump stood up for real farmers, got a plan for them, or just peddling false numbers to hide your failure. De Niro slams the table, lights catching, his flush face, eyes dazed. He is a fraud, promised steel workers, but only 7% of factories were saved, the rest closed because steel prices spiked. Leavitt laughs, her voice a tsunami crushing every point. Only 7%. Where did you get that? De Niro, Trump saved steel with tariffs, production up 25% for the American Iron and Steel Institute, preserving 15,000 jobs in Pittsburgh and Ohio. 1,200 steel and aluminum plants reopened for the Commerce Department. You want American workers kneeling to cheap Chinese steel? We choose American, not your whining. De Niro shakes his head, voice trembling. You're blind. Leavitt, he wrecked education, cut public school funding by 9 Billion hurting poor kids, Leavitt fires back, eyes searing voice, a proclamation, cut funding, dead wrong, Trump boosted education, spending 5% for the Department of Education with $1.8 billion for trade schools, training 800,000 young workers for high-skilled jobs. While you complain, Trump opened futures for poor kids. 75% of trade school grads get jobs right after got any education solutions or just slandering to hide your emptiness, Niro breathing. Hard, he is a dictator. He attacked voting rights, voter ID laws in 15 states, cost 3 million people their vote. Leavitt interrupts voice, a whirlwind dictator. Voter ID ensures transparency. 80% of Americans support it. Per Gallup 2024, you say 3 million lost their vote. Wrong, only 0.2% of voters were affected by the Brennan Center, and Trump invested $50 million to aid voter registration for minorities who want elections rigged by fraud or fear. Real democracy. When people choose Trump, a man yells Karoline, Queen, applause roars like thunder, Harper jumps, and it's getting intense, but his voice drowns in the storm. Niro eyes lost, presses on you. You don't get democracy. He oppresses women, ban abortion in 12 states, putting thousands at risk. Leavitt counters, eyes blazing, victory. Democracy lets people decide, not you. Niro, Trump gave states their rights. 60% of Americans back pro-life policies per Pew Research. You say oppression. Trump invested $500 million in women's health care per HHS. What have you got for women beyond empty words? Niro face ashen shouts. Who's ruining the future? Denies science. Did Paris Accord emissions up 4% a year? Leavitt cuts in voice, a final strike, denies science wrong, as emissions dropped 2% from 2017 to 2019 per the EPA, despite leaving Paris to save 2.7 million energy jobs. Trump invested $1.5 billion in renewables, creating 500,000 green jobs. Your 4% is a lie. Niro got any data or just yelling like it has been? Niro breathing heavily tries to shout, but his voice is weak. He doesn't care about workers. He gutted 100 environmental regulations, emissions up 3% a year. America, it's falling behind because of him. A few spectators clap in agreement, one yelling the environment's dying. Leavitt cuts in her voice like a tsunami, sweeping everything away. The environment you want to hug trees while people need jobs. Trump cut regulations to save the energy sector. Oil production up 2 million barrels a day. Gas prices down 15%, saving middle-class families an average of $1,500 a year per the EIA. Those regulations you mourn, 70% were Obama-era relics, piling costs on small businesses. Trump replaced them with smarter policies, still hitting climate goals without strangling the economy. Got any data to refute that or just whining about the climate without grasping reality? Niro shakes his head, eyes dazed, trying to speak. You're just a childish puppet. Leavitt. He enriched his cronies. 83% of the tax cut benefits went to the ultra-rich workers' wages, only up 1% a corner. The crowd murmurs in agreement, but Leavitt steps forward, eyes searing, her voice obliterating every point. Childish, I'm young, but I've got data and truth. Unlike your fabrications, Trump's tax cuts helped 90% of American households. Average tax relief of $2,000 a year per the IRS. Workers' wages rose 4.9% from 2017 to 2020, the highest in 20 years. Per the BLS, you say 83% to the ultra-rich. Dead wrong, only 17% of tax benefits went to the top 1%. Per the Tax Foundation. Got any accurate numbers? Niro, or just parroting elitist media lies? Niro face pale shouts, but his voice cracks like a man lost. He is wrecking the country. His immigration policy split 5,000 families at the border, kids locked in cages. That's humane. Sympathetic murmurs ripple. One spectator teary, that's horrific. Leavitt fires back, voice cold but sharp as a blade. Family separations. You're citing a policy inherited from Obama. Trump ended it with an executive order in 2018. He secured the border, cut drug trafficking 80%, saved thousands from fentanyl. Per the DEA. Meanwhile, he invested $4.6 billion to improve immigration centers, ensuring more humane conditions. You want open borders for criminals, letting fentanyl kill 100,000 more a year. We choose safety, not the fake humanitarian act you use to polish your name. Harper tries to jump in, voice drowned in the storm. Calm down, both of you, but the crowd's out of control. Mega applause overwhelming the boos. Niro panting presses on you. You don't see as dangerous. He threatens the press, call them enemies, freezes free speech. That's democracy. Some nod. One shouts the press need freedom. Leavitt's voice cuts cold and precise, threaten the press. Trump exposes media distortion. 78% of Americans don't trust mainstream news. Per Gallup 2024, he defends the people's free speech, not the elitist manipulating opinion. Like you back got any data proving Trump curbed the press, or just yelling like you're scared of the truth coming out? Niro grows more helpless. He is a menace. He uses social media to spread hate. Thousands of posts dividing whites and blacks. A Few murmur agreement, but Leavitt sweeps away his point. Social media, Trump speaks straight to the people, no CNN or Hollywood filter. You say division, black unemployment dropped to 5.4%, a historic low per the BLS. Trump invested $75 billion in poor black communities through opportunity zones. What have you done to unite the nation, or just slandering to divide Americans? Yourself, Darrow voice fading. I care about America, unlike you, just a mouthpiece for Trump. Leavitt counters. Her voice a proclamation. Care, you don't care about farmers losing land to cheap Chinese goods. Trump did tariffs, saved agriculture, soybean exports up 15%, corn up 20% per the USDA. You call him dangerous, who's turning their back on Americans. Darrow, when you don't get what they need, applause thunders mixed with dissenting boos. Darrow eyes lost shouts. He fools them with populism, promises jobs, but 200 Rust Belt factories shut down. Leavitt interrupts, voice like a blade. Populism. Trump kept promises. Industrial output up 12%, 500,000 new manufacturing jobs. Before the pandemic, per the BLS, those 200 factories wrong, only 87 closed, and Trump reopened 1,200 steel and aluminum plants with tariffs. Got any data, or just peddling fake news? Darrow breathing hard tries. You're blind. He pushed public debt to 30 trillion. Future generations pay the price. Leavitt fires back, eyes blazing. Public debt, we invested $500 billion in infrastructure, highways, bridges, creating 10 million indirect jobs, but the KBO debt rose due to pandemic, not Trump. He kept the debt to GDP ratio steady at 130%, lower than Obama's projections. Got a plan for the future, or just complaining? Darrow voice breaking shouts. He is a dictator. He controls the GOP like puppets. Leavitt sneers. Dictator. Millions chose him for results. Lowest unemployment in 50 years, 3.5%. The GOP backs Trump because he delivers strength. $200 billion more for defense per the DOD. What have you got for national security? Darrow nearly spent yells. You don't get democracy. He manipulates them. Leavitt cuts in, voice a final strike. Democracy, I get it better than you. Trump built 1.2 million affordable homes per HUD. What have you got to counter that? Darrow slams the table, whispering he wrecks education, cut public school funding by $9 billion. Leavitt responds, eyes aflame. Wrecked Trump boosted trade. School funding by $1.8 billion, training 800,000 young workers. But the dough you say cuts wrong. Education funding rose 5% from 2017 to 2020. Got any numbers? Darrow eyes empty, tries to shout. You enable him. He ditched the Paris Accord. Emissions up 4%. Leavitt stands tall, voice a manifesto. Ditch Paris to save 2.7 million energy jobs. Emissions dropped 2% from 2017 to 2019 per the EPA. Your 4% is a lie. We choose reality, not your pipe dream. Some boo the environment matters, but mega cheers drown them out. Darrow slumping into his chair mutters. He enriches his friends. $400 billion in tax loopholes. Leavitt closes eyes blazing. Victory enriched Trump's tax reform. Boosted revenue 10%. Closed $150 billion in loopholes, but the KBO got away to build a nation. Darrow, or just yelling like a fading shadow. Powerless against the truth. Trump wins for the people while you're just a lost soul shouting into the void. The studio feels like a Roman Colosseum. Shouts erupting like a tsunami. Bright spotlight sweeping the stand where faces flush with excitement. A group in red mega shirts hoist Trump 2025 signs, chanting Trump like thunder, while the opposing side with anti-Trump badges boos fiercely. Some raising defiant fists. The air burns. Sweat rolls down spectators' faces. Chairs creak as dozens leap to their feet. Alex Harper raises a desperate hand, voice fading. All right, we need a breather, but Robert. Darrow like a cornered beast surges up, hands trembling, voice roaring yet frail. You don't see Trump's a menace. Leavitt is wrecking the country. His trade policies cost 300,000 manufacturing jobs. You call that a win? Karoline Leavitt stands firm in the sonic storm, her red dress blazing like fire under the lights. A confident smile sharp as a blade, she tilts her head, eyes locking onto Darrow like a hunter eyeing prey. Voice exploding like fireworks. 300,000 jobs lost. You're parroting fake numbers from elitist media without checking. Darrow hears the truth. Trump created 487,000 new manufacturing jobs from 2017 to 2019 per the US Labor Department. His trade policies boosted farm exports 18%, saving thousands of farmers in Iowa and Nebraska. You don't bother with got any data to refute that, or just yelling from your Hollywood throne. Detached from reality, Darrow, face pale, tries to shout over the noise, but his voice breaks trade deals. He crashed crop prices. Farmers went bankrupt from China's retaliatory tariffs, losing $10 billion in revenue that's saving them. Leavitt cuts in, voice a razor-sharp blade slicing through bankrupt. You're lying outright. Trump pumped $28 billion into agriculture, the biggest relief in history per the USDA, helping farmers weather retaliatory tariffs and boosting soybean exports 15%. Percent corn 20%. While you play a hero in movies, Trump stood up for real farmers, got a plan for them, or just peddling false numbers to hide your failure. Green jobs, $500 billion in infrastructure backed by millions. You've lost Darrow not because of me, but because of the truth you'll never face. America chose, and it was a you. Darrow falls silent, gripping the mic, eyes empty like a man utterly submerged. His lips move, but no words escape against Leavitt's storm of arguments. Harper raises a hand, voice faltering. We will pause here, but his words drown in the roaring cheers of the mega crowd. They leap up, hoisting signs, shouts of Trump, Trump, and Karoline, Karoline, shaking the studio. Leavitt stands tall, her red dress a symbol of victory, eyes confidently sweeping the crowd, while Darrow sits motionless, head bowed like a fading shadow dissolving before the blazing light of truth. People raise phones, capturing Leavitt's dominance, her image becoming an icon of an indisputable win. As the show cuts to break, the production team rushes to upload the clip to YouTube with a scorching title. Karoline Leavitt obliterates Darrow on live TV. Within 10 minutes, it hits 50,000 views, the numbers skyrocketing. By the second Robert Darrow exits the stage, steps heavy still, clutching the mic as if to snap it, he mutters to an aide trailing behind. They are all brainwashed. She's a walking megaphone, his face flushed, sweat rolling down his forehead, eyes dazed as he glances toward the wings. Meanwhile, Karoline Leavitt lingers a moment, her red dress vivid under the lights, waving to mega fans with victorious smile. A front row group raises, phone flashes popping like fireworks, Leavitt nodding, her icy gaze shifting to absolute confidence, before striding off stage surrounded by cheering aides. The media reacts instantly. Fox News flashes a headline: Leavitt's big win. White House press secretary overwhelms Darrow in fury. Debate, a commentator praises she's the embodiment of real America, bold, unrelenting. In contrast, CNN reports with a critical tone, Leavitt aggressive in clash with Darrow. Did she go too far? A journalist notes she used data to dominate, but her style was overly combative. Post from on site reporters describe Darrow left the stage like a defeated man while Leavitt stood as the victor outside the stand. Some start sharing short clips on social media. A 30-second snippet of Leavitt saying, "You've lost, Mr. Darrow," racks up 100,000 views in 20 minutes. Tagged with Leavitt versus Darrow. One user writes, "She just crushed Hollywood elitism." Meanwhile, anti-Trump voices counter Darrow was humiliated, but is right about Trump. The studio air remains charged, a few arguing at the exit, security stepping in to prevent scuffles. Backstage, the American Pulse team holds an urgent meeting. A producer laughs. "This is gold. Ratings will explode." Harper, still on stage, turns to a side camera. "I don't know who won, but I know we just saw a historic fight." He wipes sweat, muttering to an aide, "I've never seen a crowd this wild." The video keeps spreading, catapulting Leavitt's name to new heights. Within hours of the clash, leaving the studio, Darrow declines interviews, only saying briefly to a reporter she's good at arguing, but it doesn't change the truth. In contrast, Leavitt pauses for a crowd of press stating concisely, "I'm here to defend the president and Americans." Darrow can't change that. Her confident smile is caught on camera, instantly iconic. Mega supporters outside wave, chanting Karoline, Karoline, while the opposition slips away quietly, leaving a studio steeped in the afterglow of Leavitt's triumph. Just hours after the American Pulse ends, social media erupts with reactions to the Leavitt-Darrow showdown. The video, Karoline Leavitt obliterates Darrow, on live TV hits 2 million views in 12 hours, account soaring as users share relentlessly. Comments under the video split sharply, mirroring the polarized studio crowd. One writes, "Leavitt squashed Darrow like a bug." Another fires back, "Darrow was humiliated, but is right. Trump's a disaster." On X, the hashtag Leavitt versus Darrow climbs to global trending in 3 hours with over 500,000 related posts. Mega leads a charge, hailing Leavitt as a new icon. An account with 100,000 followers posts, "Karoline just showed Hollywood elitists what real American strength looks like," with a 30-second clip of Leavitt saying, "You've lost, Mr. Darrow," hitting 1.5 million views in a day. Another writes, "Leavitt is MAGA future sharp, relentless," with a photo of her waving, earning 20,000 likes. Liberals fight back fiercely. A user post, "Darrow may have lost a debate, but is right about Trump," a danger, with a video of Darrow slamming the table, gaining 300,000 views. Another comments, "Leavitt won by shouting louder, but the truth doesn't change. Trump's a menace. Still some concede her strength." One writing, "I hate Trump, but Leavitt was overwhelming. Darrow had no chance." This post gets 5,000 likes, showing even opponents were impressed. Memes spread far, cementing Leavitt's when an image of Darrow sitting silently, head down, captioned, "When you face Karoline Leavitt," is shared 50,000 times. On X, another meme shows Leavitt on stage, captioned, "Hollywood 0, America 1," with fake stats of 74 million punches from Leavitt, hitting 30,000 retweets. Mega fans craft a loop video of Leavitt's "You've Lost" line set to epic music, racking up 800,000 TikTok views in 6 hours. Anti-Trump voices try to counter, but their reach is weaker. A big account posts, "Leavitt won with MAGA's help, but Darrow's right about Trump. America's being manipulated." It gets only 2,000 likes, drowned by pro-Leavitt waves. A video analysis from an anti-Trump user titled, "Darrow lost, but Isn't Wrong hits 100,000 views but fades against MAGA short Leavitt clips. The hashtag Karoline Leavitt emerges trending in the US with 200,000 posts, mostly praise. One writes, she just knocked out Hollywood Trump's got an air with a stage photo of Leavitt getting 25,000 likes. Meanwhile, hashtag Niro was right appears but only hits 50,000 posts saying Niro lost a debate but Trump's still a danger. The Gap shows Leavitt social media dominance forums. Like Reddit, Buzzy RS Mega subreddit posts dozens of threads cheering Leavitt's a new star. She crushed Niro without mercy. A detailed liberal analysis on ARF's politics admits Leavitt won on style and data, but Niro is right about Trump's nature. Yet it gets only 3,000 upvotes against MAGA's 10,000 on Instagram. A major mega account posts Leavitt waving caption America's new queen. The American Pulse clash wasn't just a debate, it became a milestone cementing Karoline Leavitt as MAGA's rising star. After crushing Robert Niro, Leavitt returned to the White House with radiant confidence. At her next press briefing, she declared briefly but powerfully, "I'll always defend the president and true Americans. People like Niro can't change." That her words live stream got thousands of X shares, solidifying her as an unrelenting warrior. Mega quickly embraced her as an icon, a young sharp defender ready to take on Hollywood elitists for Trump. Donald Trump, in a Fox News interview days later, didn't hide his pride. Karoline's fantastic. She showed Niro what real America's about. She's the future. His praise spread widely with mega accounts on Truth Social calling her Trump's heir. New hashtag Leavitt 2028 emerged, though she hadn't signaled political plans. The clash video hit 10 million YouTube views in a week, becoming a symbol of division and Leavitt's public strength. In contrast, Robert Niro went quiet post-battle. He declined public interviews, meeting close friends at a Los Angeles restaurant. A friend shared Bob admitted Leavitt was tough. She's sharp and unflinching, but he still believes Trump's a threat. Niro focused on his film Ezra, steering clear of political spotlights. His rare comment came via a brief Instagram post. "I said what needed saying. America will decide." It got 200,000 likes, but couldn't dim Leavitt's surge. The clash went beyond a TV debate for Mega. It proved real Americans could beat Hollywood elitists. X and Truth Social posts kept praising Leavitt. One major account writing, "She didn't just beat Niro, she beat the anti-Trump system." Some predicted she'd soon take a bigger role in Trump's administration, perhaps a springboard for future political ambitions. Merch featuring Leavitt t-shirts, mugs, "Where You've Lost Mr. Niro" popped up online, drawing thousands of orders from supporters. Liberals, though outmatched on social media, didn't give up. Niro supporters launched small campaigns on Reddit and Twitter urging don't let Leavitt overshadow the truth. Trump's still the issue, but these efforts paled against MAGA's force with hashtag Niro was right hitting 100,000 posts compared to hashtag Leavitt destroys Niro's over 1 million. A CNN commentator noted Leavitt won because she played the game. She made Niro a symbol of the past, herself the future. Post event, Leavitt kept working at the White House. Her victories glow undimmed. She appeared on conservative shows, each time reiterating, "I speak for Americans forgotten by Hollywood." Niro, meanwhile, withdrew from public politics, leaving open whether he'd return to this arena. The clash didn't just close a debate, it opened a new era. The Leavitt-Niro face-off on the American Pulse deeply reflect America's political divide, where values, beliefs, and truth split along party lines. Leavitt with sharp arguments and stats like 74 million voted for Trump, or soybean exports up 15% represent Americans who trust tangible results and populism's power, while Niro with claims of Trump University's $25 million fine and 5,000 families separated voices, those fearing moral and long-term consequences. The crowd's chaos cheers of Trump clashing with boos, and the hashtag Leavitt destroys Niro wave on X show how social media and news amplify this divide, turning debate into cultural warfare rather than constructive dialogue. The lesson isn't about picking sides, but how we handle disagreement in real life. Leavitt won because she prepared specific, data-tight arguments, while Niro leaned on emotion and morality, lacking detailed rebuttals. For a public stage in today's America, where policy debates often ignite, everyone should learn to listen on themselves with knowledge and argue from facts over feelings. Look at how Leavitt turned potential loss into victory. She didn't just shout louder, she countered with 1.5 million green jobs in families, workplaces, or communities. Don't let differences divide. Engage with respect and data to build, not destroy. Don't forget to subscribe to catch more epic clashes like Leavitt versus Niro. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video to dive into more red-hot stories from real America.